Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Group Chat. We are talking all sorts of interesting things today. We're talking Nike earnings. We're giving you also a very in-depth look at two great television shows, WeCrashed and Super Pumped. We think Jared Leto's fantastic, and so is Anne Hathaway. And then we got a crash visitor, Paul Ripke.
Former,
What's up? We thought he was potentially refugee status, but we've let him back in the country. And we're asking a big question of our listeners. If a refugee showed up at your doorstep, would you take them in?
I would.
Paul would. I gave you the answer of what I believe in the episode. Stay tuned to hear and see if you agree with me or not. I'd love to know. He'll let you stay in his back house, far away from him. Yeah, let's get into the episode.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Group Chat. Got a lot of great feedback on Sunday's episode with Kevin. A lot of people who listen obviously have direct-to-consumer businesses and can relate to all the struggles of what everyone's going through. And I also got a ton of feedback on a lot of parents who listen to the podcast because I was talking about how we're talking about how Kevin and Drama are making business decisions based on their current state, and when you have children, you're making completely different decisions based on basically when you're a parent, your life are your kids, and
So how are the business decisions different? So how they characterize it versus how you characterize it?
Yeah, well, Kevin was talking about he's running profitable businesses, doesn't need to take money off the table, doesn't really need to sell. If he does sell, then great, but he wants the price he wants. And, whereas if I was, if I had a little more foresight 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe I would have done a private equity deal or a venture deal so that I would have secured a guarantee a future. Whereas when you're single, and let's say you don't have a husband or wife, you view the world very different. You're balls to the wall.
Yeah.
You're going all out.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I operated my entire 20s.
Yeah.
I basically used every free dollar I had and invested in the riskiest stuff.
Yeah. And now you probably have a different view of the world.
Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And that really does, if that's like a piece of advice that I wish someone had told me, someone older, of you're going to have a family one day. This is how I would approach your entrepreneurial journey.
Meaning set yourself up earlier in life?
Yes, because I think you just think that you can go balls to the wall all the time, and it's not realistic for most folks. But
it's, for any entrepreneur, obviously, if you can set yourself up and take chips off the table, it's just not a reality for.
But it's not even just chips off the table. It's also when you're an entrepreneur, what do you care about? Grow, 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 grow. Very few entrepreneurs care about making money. Mm-hmm. You could adjust your business to cash flow. You can take lesser risk in your operational process. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. Obviously, it's hindsight now, but that process, I think, is super powerful. I think we were talking about this. I started watching WeCrashed.
Yeah, I'm first 5 minutes in.
Okay. Jared Leto's fucking good,
He's
right?
unbelievable.
Even Anne Hathaway, her role grows a lot.
The first scene is incredible.
Yeah.
The assistant, or is it the maid, brings in the bong? That's the opening scene.
Yeah.
Because he was hungover?
Yeah. And I think that's the day
WeCrashed is the story based on the WeWork book.
Yeah, and Adam Newman.
Yeah, and Adam Newman.
First of all, they're phenomenal actors, both of them.
Yeah.
Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway just absolutely crush it. But it's interesting. What I was my takeaway from it was people are watching right now. Young people are probably watching Super Pumped. They're watching WeCrashed.
Young entrepreneurs specifically.
Yeah, and then they're watching. I don't know the name of Elizabeth Holmes's movie.
Yeah,
Is
I know
it
what
out
you're
yet?
talking about. I don't know.
The Jennifer Lawrence. I don't think it's out yet. I think it comes out at the end of this month. So they're going to watch that too, right? And here's the challenge with those stories. They're all very fascinating. There are parts of their stories that are very inspiring. because of what they did. But then there are parts of their stories extremely scary of how they operated and how they ran their businesses. And I think in the case of Adam Neumann specifically, Adam Neumann's character, while delusional, came off very charming. And like it was like this guy, like all he cares about is like being successful, and he has this like charm to him, and you want him to win. But you also realize, and and we've said this many times on the podcast before, there's a fine line between delusion and genius, and I think those kind of shows are showing like I think they actually do I think it's going to be a dangerous fallout for a lot of young founders to watch these things, because what you take away is the titans of industry, Bill Gurley's, Jamie Dimon, whoever, all these people, they're all these characters, David Bonderman, all of these are characters. I don't know who all the Theranos investors are, but they're some of the most famous people in Silicon Valley history.
No, that was the whole point of Theranos. It was non-Silicon Valley people that were funding it.
Okay, so, but titans.
It was like Henry Kissinger, right? Like,
yeah, but I don't think Henry Kissinger wrote $1 billion check.
No, but I think that's what Silicon Valley gets really mad about Theranos.
Yeah.
It wasn't Sequoia and Andreessen.
Yeah.
And everyone's making it seem like, oh, Silicon Valley is a bunch of morons.
Yeah.
But Theranos is famously like, I don't know, like it was financial institutions that were giving them money.
But still, there are to write this kind of check, there are titans of industry. The problem is that these titans of industry are enamored with a little bit of kookiness, a little bit of madness, a little bit of craziness. And I think that's what like investors want to see, the person come in and say, every one of these people, Travis and Super Pump, I'm going to change the world. Adam Neumann, I'm going to change the world. Elizabeth Holmes, I'm going to change the world. By the way, these are 3 people that were going to change the world. And to some extent, they did. They definitely like created like a new industry in all of these things. But then they all kind of had a kind of sad ending. I mean, definitely sad ending for all of them. Sure, they all got rich, but like
that's the thing. I mean, that's the problem though. They got extremely rich, right?
Yeah.
Adam Neumann walked away with $1 to $2 billion, depending on who you believe.
Yeah.
It's definitely over 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's public. It says it's 1.
Yeah.
His partner got 900 million. He's got $1 billion.
And then Travis's problem really was with his board more than the company, because the employees actually backed him.
Yeah.
Like there was this whole like revolt in Uber, and a lot of talent left once Travis left. So Travis like built an incredible company, and there was no fraud. It was just
there was a lot of other issues.
It was
very reckless.
It was reckless. But Adam Neumann, he presented financials in a fraudulent way.
Yeah. And
But
Elizabeth Holmes didn't actually.
Investors were dumb enough to believe you can EBITDA is above rent expense, which is the biggest line expense in your entire business, right? You're a moron if you're an investor, and you saw that and couldn't pick that out.
So to that point, you sent me a blog post from Fred Wilson of Union Square Ventures, legendary investor.
Yeah, he's tier 1, based out of New York, as good as it gets.
And everyone respects him, incredible investor. And he had a blog post talking about like the moment he discovered, a friend of him told him about Bitcoin. He read the white paper, purchased his Bitcoin, and then Coinbase came along and he was an early investor in Coinbase. Similar to Twitter, he got a chance to experience it, love the product, invested in it, and then same with NFTs with Dapper Labs. And he basically said if he had done the level of diligence that maybe you would do at a later stage in the early stages. He basically said, I don't think I would get there on investment. He said, definitely not on Twitter. He wouldn't have gotten there, he said. And so I think that is a very interesting line, because the good part of that is he's backing people with big visions, and know that in the early days, the numbers actually don't fucking matter, because if they have a vision and you feel like if they were given money, they can go execute it, then give them the money, and fucking your job is to roll the dice and figure it out. That's why you get those outsized returns, because you give a Twitter money at a $50 million, $100 million valuation, it becomes a $50 billion company. The thing I think that other people could take out of it was like, oh, and this is where I look at the Adam Neumann story and some of these other things. It's like, as long as you tell this amazing story, there is a group of people that might give you money.
Yeah, of course. And I think this is what got carried away between basically Uber started all of this.
Yeah.
Like Uber's ability to raise money as quickly as they did and at the volume they did, that investors just, it's groupthink. They're like, okay, the whole industry needs to be back like this. Mm-hmm. So when an Adam Newman character comes around and he's charming and he says he's going to revolutionize the office space, the question no one asked was, what's the tech layer? Yeah. So you listed Twitter, Bitcoin, and Coinbase, and was there one other?
Dapper
Labs. Clearly all technology plays.
Yeah.
So that, I think, has got what missed, and that's what happened with D2C.
Yeah.
D2C was not technology.
No.
It was just, instead of going to the store, you're clicking a couple buttons.
Yeah.
Right?
But it got positioned as
there's this new age way of shopping. What's the new age way?
Yeah.
Like, you bought the clothes. If you like it, you keep it. If not, you return it. There was nothing revolutionary about D2C other than you didn't have to go to the store.
Yeah.
And the difference is, when you are a Series A investor, which is what a lot of Union Square Ventures and Fred Wilson do, the data doesn't matter because they're not playing for a double, a triple. It's not like a private equity firm that needs to deploy money and return 3x. They either have to return 100x or nothing, and it doesn't matter. They're playing a different game, and that's what people outside of VC I don't think appreciate is it's just a different way of investing. Yeah. If you don't like it, don't do it.
Yeah,
right?
It is. Yeah, and I don't think anyone doesn't like it. I think they just don't understand it. Right? It just upsets them.
But like sophisticated private equity Wall Street guys didn't get it.
Yeah,
and then Tiger got it, D1 got it, was like, oh, this is a much better way of investing.
Yeah, especially at the later stage, the last 5 years, where you're like, oh, the market's going to reward these companies. Mm-hmm. Now that's changed, and all people's the way they're thinking about investing has evolved. But I don't know. But
like, it's funny. One of our really close friends, her and her husband have I don't know if it's growth stage yet, but it's a very successful startup raising tons of money, and the CEO is like pumped by super pumped. Like, I got to be like Travis.
Yeah, that's my point. Because I saw that and like I was like fucking mortified.
But here's the problem, right? Like, they had positive net worth outcomes, both of them.
Yeah.
Despite both of them getting fired.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do people value?
So I think
Zuck was just legendary. Like, Social Network paints him in a bad portrait too.
Yeah, but Social Network just painted him as more of just like
he fucked over the guys that started
a cutthroat business person, not committing fraud.
No, definitely not fraud. But Uber wasn't fraud.
But Uber, like the episode I saw, they were covering up sexual harassment. These are for very serious issues that are not tolerated in the workplace. And that is what if a founder says, "Oh yeah, you just companies."
You know what's crazy is investors don't give a shit. That's like where
that was then. I guarantee you now.
So like, perfect example. This is after Uber basically was a complete dumpster fire internally. Zenefits, remember that company?
Yeah.
Parker Conrad, founder, and it was shit show. People were fucking in the stairwell. People were getting blacked out.
Yeah, I read the article.
Yeah, they were just and they fired him.
Yeah.
You know what happened? 1 year later, every single tier one investor gave him money to start a new business. Yeah. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's optics.
So
like in a Me Too era, they have to pretend to care.
Yeah.
But in reality, honestly, if Adam Newman wanted to go raise money, I bet you he could. We know Travis can. Travis has raised over $1 billion for Cloud Kitchens.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I think those guys can raise money. Here's the thing: they are cemented in culture the way they are cemented. And so when Adam Newman, who has 6 children, get their own Apple TV account one day, they're like, I want to see what my dad was up to.
Yeah,
I don't care how much money.
It's any public figure that has controversy. Same with Kanye's kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking unpleasant.
Like, the 8-year-old probably is reading everything, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. She's at school.
She has TikTok. That's what the whole beef is.
Yeah.
If she has TikTok, she knows what's going on.
Maybe that's why Kanye doesn't want her on TikTok, because they can't see how crazy I am.
Yeah, but it's funny because they're obviously trying to make Travis ultimately look like the bad guy, and I know they're going to show him getting fired and all this.
Yeah.
I don't know if he looks that bad
I think he looks terrible.
from like an entrepreneurial standpoint.
I guess if you're like,
If you're a founder,
If you're 20
every tech founder, because that's what I know, has had problems with their board, feel like they're getting bullied into making decisions that they didn't want to do. Sure,
so
Travis,
that part
like,
is all relatable things, but like, I don't know, like the way, because like, you know, there's the scene in the last when he was getting interviewed, you know, there was a lot of press issues he had, how he came off at conferences and how brash he was. That shit doesn't fly now. It just doesn't. You act like that in fucking public setting, you're toast.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just think,
Founders are not like that anymore. They're just not. That and by the way, I don't think that's cool. It's not
it's definitely
acceptable.
not cool. I think what founders have realized is a lot of the big ones now that have become big in the last 3-4 years, they're all low profile.
Yeah, of course.
No one's trying to be famous anymore.
No, because here's the thing. It's like, you know, if you look at like what Uber's market cap is, and then you look at, which I don't even know what is it now, $30-40 billion probably. Obviously, WeWork is a SPAC, is SPACing it up, and Theranos is obviously Donut. No one's talking about like the ServiceNow CEO who actually had like an incredible outcome, or Snowflake CEO. Like no one wants to see the movie of the Snowflake CEO and his $70 billion company. You know, there are far greater success stories, but they're not sexy and they're not consumer, right? Like these were all consumer businesses that people got to experience. Like everyone rode in an Uber, everyone got to experience WeWork. You know, you got to go see inside one, or you were a customer. So
Yeah,
there's
Snowflake is 68 billion, Uber is 65 billion. The difference really is if you look at the biggest companies, kind of the post-Uber world, they're non-sexy businesses, non-sexy industries. It's software. It's like the plumbing of the internet getting better.
Yeah.
That's what all these guys are doing.
because the consumer side of things is just hard. It's way
It's
harder.
really hard, yeah. I mean, Evan Spiegel is probably the last famous consumer CEO. I guess Brian Armstrong is because of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
The FTX guy's getting big.
yeah. But you know, those guys are also learning. It's not worth being known.
Yeah.
There was something about like it's interesting because like you see the transformation in the super pump. Like I remember hearing like how Travis had become famous. Just like people were lining up to talk to him and meet him. That was never the case for a founder of a business.
No. What was that summit at sea?
Yeah.
I remember Travis was, I didn't go, but I had friends who went, and Travis was there. And it was the equivalent if you walk into Delilah and LeBron James is there.
Yeah.
People were just
Well,
like,
because
floored.
to be fair, he was doing something that no one has ever seen before.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying the kind of aura around Travis was insanity.
Yeah, I mean, I wish just as someone who went to Granada Hills High School as Travis Kalanick, I wish he was just a little more humble, and he would have still been able to build Uber. It's the personality. You could have still been cutthroat and aggressive, but like the public persona that he had put on, I wish didn't exist. Because
It was working though. That's the problem.
I don't know.
Maybe it didn't ultimately work because he got kicked out of the company.
Which sucks. I mean, the guy built a revolutionary company. Uber changed the world.
Yeah.
It really did change the world. But like, I'm sure as much as he loves cloud kitchens, he'd rather be at fucking Uber.
I'm sure, but there's a reason why he's not doing any press. No one knows.
Of course, but I'm sure he'd rather still be running Uber.
traumatized.
Yeah, of course. But wouldn't you rather? I mean, like, I'm sorry. I'd rather be at Uber than cloud kitchens. It's like, it's the challenge and the opportunities. It's like, even today, if let's say everything was all equal and he was this like amazing human being that people wanted back in the company, you'd rather have Travis running Uber now.
Of course, but that will never happen because all his henchmen left.
They may come back.
No, they're all too rich.
You can write enough checks. There'd be a new set of henchmen.
No, the
younger
board's
henchmen.
changed and how they're operating the business isn't the way they used to. They're publicly traded.
Here's a fun story. David Bonderman, they characterized him.
David Bonderman started TPG, one of the biggest private equity firms in the
very
world.
close friend of ours, worked at TPG early days of his career. And in 1998, he met him and he goes, "Hey, you like kimchi?" He's Korean.
That was acceptable back then.
That was acceptable back then. Fucking insane comment to make, but I was like, I have to share this story. He's like, yeah, I don't care. Just don't mention my name.
Yeah, I mean, that was what's going on at TPG. What that happened at Uber is a child's play.
Yeah. I mean, Uber had unfortunately, the people died. Their drivers did get killed.
Yeah, but that's not their fault.
It's that they didn't take the necessary actions fast enough to protect their drivers. When people's lives
But that
are
was
being
in
lost,
Brazil,
sure,
where the mob exists.
Okay,
and
but
it wasn't LA drivers dying.
Sure, but you had a responsibility to when you launch a business in a territory and you didn't do your homework on it, dude. People's lives lost. I don't give a fuck what you're building. People should not die.
I mean,
that's your liability at the end of the day,
too,
right?
What? I'm sure people are getting murdered in Airbnbs.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
I don't know. The number of bookings annually, you're telling me there's not murders in Airbnbs? That's absolutely impossible.
Murders? Maybe people were dying, but murders?
I guarantee you there's greater than 0 murders in Airbnb every single year. It's just the sheer numbers.
I don't know. Murder is crazy.
I mean, it's just numbers. Well, a lot of people get murdered.
So then maybe there'll be a movie on him and how he's a life.
He's gone. He's not in the public anymore. He used to be Brian Chesky.
Oh yeah, no one wants to hear you talk. Just run your business. That's the reality. Look what happened to the Bolt guy. The guy had one hot Twitter thread and he had to step down.
Yeah,
and the guy built an amazing business.
Yeah,
shut up and dribble is not a bad option for a CEO. Go become rich. Why do you got to become why do you have to fight people publicly? That I never understood with founders. Unless they're attacking your I don't know, even if they're attacking you, you got to do it with such tact because the downside is so much greater than the upside.
I would say Uber didn't do enough on the passenger side when it came to
safety.
People dying and a DUI. I think they just used it as insurance and didn't publicly. But then their liability might have been insane. I don't know.
Yeah, but they had no expectations to make money, so it's
like trying to manage Brazilian mafia and your drivers.
You shouldn't have gone to Brazil. It's simple. Are they even in Brazil anymore? Probably not.
I'm sure they might have consolidated.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
there were rapes in India and passengers.
That's fucking nuts.
There were kid passengers. We know someone who died in Uber.
Yeah,
from a drunk driver, and they didn't do anything.
Uber didn't do anything.
No.
Wow. Super pumped, huh? It's fucking nuts.
So that's the board's fault too.
Yeah,
that's Bill. They don't paint. They're not going to paint Bill Gurley. What is Bill Gurley doing?
Just a great guy, huh?
No, I think that's the problem with the show. They're making it all on Travis when the board has culpability, the investors have culpability.
Yeah, everyone should be held accountable, 100%. I don't think anyone should just be let go and say, "Oh yeah, you guys."
No one cared about passengers. It weren't often, but it happened. People died.
Yeah.
No one. I didn't see Bill Gurley coming out and saying we need to do better on safety protocols. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, everyone wants to get rich. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Paul, you bike a lot.
Yeah, I do.
That's not real exercise, but I'm sure you do get tired from, biking for what? What do you bike, 3-4 miles?
60 miles. It's not pelotoning where you don't get to anywhere. It's a real cycling car.
So you sweat, I assume?
But you have to stay hydrated doing that.
So what do you do to get hydrated?
I'm starting to drink some water, but I'm not enough drinking water. I'm dehydrated, and I feel like my body is not living to its potential.
Wow. So let me tell you something. There's a great company called Liquid IV that I use when I go running.
So you have a solution for my problem.
I do have a solution for your problem. So right before you go on your fake 60-mile bike rides, take a packet of Liquid IV, put it in water, shake it up, and when you're feeling a little parched, take a little Liquid IV. And you know why you take that? Because it's the equivalent of many bottles of water, gives you all the electrolytes, all the essential vitamins and minerals, and it is great tasting. Guava tastes incredible. They have a lemon. They have...
I'm a watermelon person myself.
Wow. It tastes like candy, frankly. And instant hydration makes you feel great. People don't realize how tired you are when you're dehydrated.
And how much water do you put that? Like one of these, is it sticks?
1 stick of liquid ID and 16 ounces of water. Actually, the other day, it was actually quite hot. I took one before I ran, and I took one after I ran.
So you doubled up.
I doubled up, felt great. You know, I only get to take naps on Saturdays. Yeah. And after running, I actually genuinely feel tired as fuck.
Yeah. And it's heating up everywhere.
Yeah, I went running today, and I had to take a little liquid IV after because in the morning it was a little warm. And of course, we have an incredible offer for you. Head over to liquidiv.com, use the code GROUPCHAT, and get 25% off. Or if you live near a Costco all across America, they sell them by the pallets. You need 600, 1,200, 4,000 packets. You can go get them at Costco. You got to hydrate a church? Go over to Costco. Get everyone hydrated. Also, if you come to Run Club, I bring them there. I'm actually just handing out free sticks. So if you want a free trial, come over to Run Club on Santa Monica Boulevard and Doheny. And after we run, I let everyone get a shot of the liquid IV.
I'm going to get one. Do you have some here?
Yes, I do.
I feel like, do you have anything with like caffeine or green tea or something?
I have a matcha one for you.
Perfect.
Wow.
I'm going to try one and I'm going to feel hydrated for the rest of the day.
Thank you so much for laying up this ad for me, Paul. Back to the episode. All right, so we're going to get into some news, but Paul Ripke, our German friend, just so happened to just pop in the office. I just threw the mic and said, join us.
Absolutely. And normally I speak German, right? So I'm going to say hello. Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Gruppen-Chat. Group chat means Gruppenchat.
Okay.
Can you say that in a harsh German way? Gruppen.
Gruppen. No,
Gruppen.
I don't know. I like that.
Okay.
You know what's interesting? Whenever I run into a German person that listens to the podcast, they say it's because of you.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Are you still on Clubhouse?
No. Are you? Is that even?
No one's on Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's gone. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted.
So let me ask you a question. You were forbid to enter the country for a while. What happened?
Correct. Your great American country is not so great all over.
Yeah, you know, we got to build that wall. Keep you guys out.
Yeah, I was out for sure. So no,
I'm surprised you didn't because you're white and tall. You would have just snuck in.
I thought too, and I brought my IRS tax. Like I'm taxing everything here in California. I'm not doing a single dodgy Cayman Island, Bermudas, whatever thing. I'm taxing in California because I like the streets. The streets are beautiful over here.
Yeah.
School system is great. I'm used to pay 50% plus taxes, so I taxed everything, and I've had good years. So I just brought my IRS statement, and I thought it's like I walk in there and they like, say, "Oh, where do you want to drink with your visa?" Didn't happen at all. Like I went alone there, and it was so you have to. I'm on an E2 visa, so it's an investment visa. I founded a company over here for one purpose: photo workshops for German photographers. So they come over, and I teach them. I did that for the first year. Then Formula One happened and stuff, and then I moved from being a service photographer to more kind of like podcasting, whatever the hell I'm doing now.
Celebrity life.
Yeah, celebrity life. And so I extended that visa. Normally all the family needs to go there. I went alone because of school
COVID.
And stuff.
Yeah.
I have 3 kids, and I thought I'm going to dodge my way through it, and it didn't work out. And it started with a big 3x no-show with the Sharpie on the top of the thing.
Wait, did you get to the U.S. and they told you to go back home?
No, I went to Germany, and I thought they give me a visa over there, and then I had to be there
the embassy.
Correct, for 4 months. I was, stranded
It
there.
seemed like you had a great time. You were biking, having beers.
I gained a lot of weight there. Yeah. I constantly.
So your wife and 3 kids were here.
Correct.
And
I
you
can't
were just
believe
solo
she still
partying
stayed
for 4
with you.
months.
Correct. And it
I would have
was,
left your ass.
I mean, no, okay. But it was interesting times because psychologically, normally you kind of know where you're going. And I made that film about myself for IWC where I'm talking about the freedom of choice, and I'm super proud of. And that got taken away from me 100%. Like they probably saw that and said, "No, you're not in charge.
You're free."
Not happening." But I only lived like every Tuesday. I had to move my Sunday flight. If the visa was not there until Tuesday, I lived from week to week to week. So that was kind of a interesting time.
Yeah, it's like a movie.
So it's a refresh every Tuesday.
Oh my God.
And sometimes I did a refresh for 2 weeks, because then you think that in 2 weeks it's going to be there. And then it's even more hurtful if it's not there the next 2 weeks. But now I'm here. I have another 3 years to be in this great country, and then I might become an American. American citizenship is the next step.
Wow, how are they going to give you a citizenship?
Don't you need a green card first?
Yeah, it's complicated. But I have an American child. That's so that's going to help us with it. But I first have to decide if I want to stay here. It depends on the next election, I would say. Out of a German perspective.
If Trump wins, you're definitely staying.
Yeah. It's probably easier for me to get a visa if Trump wins. If I'm totally transparent.
Our cousins are from India. They work at like Amazon, Apple, all these companies. And they explained to me the lottery of the green card situation. They said the average Indian, because there's so much demand, 80 years.
Crazy.
80.
That's
what are they? They're like late 20s. So at 100, 105, they'll be American citizens.
They weren't joking.
Yeah.
So they're just on these like lottery visas. Like we have a cousin, he finds out March 31st if he gets kicked out.
It's wild.
And he's like, I'm going to go to Vancouver. Canada is very welcoming.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the Indians go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember walking out of Vancouver airport 10 years ago. I was like, what is this? Did the flight land in India?
Yeah.
I mean, literally everyone's Indian.
Hey, if it takes 80 years to get a green card, you have to go to Canada at some point, right?
No, but I researched that when I was in Vancouver. Same thing happened to me. And I read that the original people of Vancouver once wanted to give the Indian population a different country to move there, like an island in the Caribbean, I think.
Really?
They offered that like 100 years ago. They said like, too many Indians around here, so can you please move to that other place? And they said, no, we're staying.
Oh,
and
wow.
now it's one of the biggest outside of India Indian populations in the world, for sure.
Fascinating Indian history.
It is what it is. And did you know that the green card lottery is for each country? So it's way better to be in the German lottery. It's kind of okay.
Yeah, that's the problem, because there's so many Indians trying to come here for all the tech jobs that the numbers are just against
what
them.
are you guys bringing over here? Anything good? Germans?
Beer, engineering,
But
cars.
I don't think Germans want to leave, right? They like it in Germany, so it's easier.
Yeah, it used to be safer until Putin did a little bit of...
You might not have heat.
Yeah, a little bit.
You got out before the heat got cut off.
Turned up the heat, yeah. So, that's pretty close, to be fair. Like insane amounts of refugees are now coming into Germany, and but it's cool. They take care of it. So it's like, I know at least 10 to 15 families that took on refugees. Like every German family is now taking care of it. And it's like, and we're used to it, like we've been separated countries. We grew together, so we know how to do that. And that
shit would never happen in America.
Refugees, we don't even want to give like DACA rights.
Yeah. Or homeless people a place to sleep.
Yeah. Forget refugees.
Like,
imagine if there was an incident where like 1 million refugees got dropped off at the LA port, and they asked upon the citizens
the Newport port.
Yeah,
imagine the Newport port.
Yeah, Newport port. You go to Newport and you're like, okay, there's 1 million refugees that are landing here today. We need every family in Orange County to take on one person.
That's a good reality show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Start with 100
Germans
refugees.
will do that.
Yeah.
Start with 100 refugees.
10 and drop them off in Huntington Beach. Let's roll the dice.
If you look at the swing states where Trump won, it was places where refugees came, and then 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and then these like traditional white communities turned into Somali communities, turned into Iraqi communities, and they were like, "Fuck this, get these people out of here."
Yeah,
that's the American way.
It is like that, yeah. But you would never take if a war refugee would show up, like you can take care. It's not forever. It's like for 3 months. So would you take that family of two, a mother and 2 children? Father is fighting in the Ukraine.
Okay,
you would,
and I'll be brutally honest with the kids I have at the age they're at right now. We couldn't do it.
And it's also like
different. If my kids were not living with me,
it's different. The reason why
are you making me look like I'm not taking in refugees?
No.
If I told my wife I got 4 refugees coming home tonight, like, you get the fuck out of here.
Come on, Haley would
but
would
I mean,
cook
this
a
is-
meal
No,
for the.
hold on. This is why it's not apples to apples, because the Russia-Ukraine conflict directly affects Germany.
Yeah.
Like, Putin can turn your shit off overnight. The Russia-Ukraine conflict, unfortunately, doesn't affect Americans other than the economy being, whipsawing on the markets. If there was like an American war, I guess that was,
We're
Canada.
shelling the Canadians.
and you needed to,
I don't know. I don't want to hear A
Vancouver.
all day in my house.
But it's more a question of human like it's if I'm showing up at your door and I lost my house and everything, I could sleep at your house for a week,
Is
right?
it you or your whole family's coming?
My whole family.
That's too many
5
people.
1 week?
for 1 week.
1 week?
D, come on.
Is it guaranteed 1 week?
Let's see.
Javier has a guest on his bed. That guy's been there for weeks, and he's not even a refugee. He's like a regular ass kid. I wouldn't want a regular ass kid. Why would I? Just being. Here's the thing: is I'm being honest. It's not realistic when you have 2 young children and now I got to take on the Ripkes. Hey, fuck that.
Hey, I lived in a
3 German kids.
no, but when
So I have 5 kids in my house. That's fucking nuts.
6. I'm your kid too,
Yeah,
sort of. So
exactly.
you have to take care of
hey,
me.
I'll
You're
say,
just drinking beers and bratwurst and all day.
when we lived in Burton Way, we lived in a fairly small apartment. Me and Amanda, we housed some divorcees for months. They got divorced.
Yeah.
Couple got split. I'm doing my duty.
Okay, so if that was I don't know.
I learned a new word here. Divorcees.
Yeah.
Is it French or is it?
It's the refugees of your friends.
It's pretty much, right?
So that's a person that's divorced or separated. And
Yeah,
I would take on one person. One person I would take.
Okay.
I would not take a family. I can't. It's too much.
For a week. Like if I'm in a humanitarian crisis
Okay.
and I'm like, you would take care of me. I'm building you a bridge to look a little bit better than you did look the last
You
3.5
can
minutes.
just say yes. He's not
You
going to
say
take
yes.
you up on it.
No, because I would be lying. I can't lie. I wouldn't take you in. I'm sorry. And if it was actually you, or like I didn't know you and you just showed up at my doorstep.
But we're talking about, like, to be serious, that's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening. People,
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you're
it's an
standing-
amazing thing that you
Yeah.
guys are doing
Yeah,
that.
it's
I'm just saying,
yeah.
if that was asked upon Americans, that shit ain't happening. I could go down the list of people I know and say, "Can you take in a family of 5 tomorrow?" And I'm guessing I'm getting 10 out of 10 no's.
Okay. America.
Anand has
LA.
a big fucking house. How many people are you taking in?
There's one area they can go. You can come. I got you.
You got 5? You got 5? You got room for 5?
There's a shower.
5
There's a
Ripkes?
kitchen. And you
Not
might
your
have to
back
buy-
house. You're in your main house. Not your back
It's
house.
within
No,
the-
no, no,
within
no.
the ground.
No. In your main house, 5 people. This guy's trying to send you to the back.
I'll have to move my treadmill. I'll do that for you, Ripke.
You have to move his treadmill, his TV.
I mean, at one point, we count as political refugees, right? As Germans that are kind of your
Yeah,
country.
look,
But, yeah.
I think it's an amazing thing what people are doing. It's also just the harsh reality of maybe it's an American thinking, and I'm not saying it's right, but it's a hard. And maybe if I was faced with it in front of my face, I'd have a very different answer for you. But like, I think what German people are doing, anyone who's taking in anybody, to me is like.
So we are more social, that's for sure. We are a socialist country, sort of, compared to what's happening over here. Like your leftish people would be right wing in our country. Like Joe Biden would be insanely right wing.
Wow.
That's a fact. But still, I think. How about hitchhiking?
Absolutely not.
Zero chance.
You never.
I would never in a million years take a hitchhiker.
Hitchhiker sounds like just
Might as well
death.
get killed.
Really?
Here's the gun. Just shoot me before we even start driving. Save the gas.
So you never took on a hitchhiking trip?
Hell no.
Do you know what's going on in this city?
By the way, I've driven through this country, like fucking through the Midwest, down I-95 on the East Coast. I used to travel all the time driving rental cars by myself. I barely felt safe when I would go through like heavily white communities by myself, let alone like, oh, this guy looks like a war veteran. I'd love to take you on the next 7-hour ride.
But yeah.
Let me
do
ask
a
a
lot of it,
question,
yeah.
switching topics, because
Yeah.
I think this is super interesting. Formula One has just exploded in America.
Correct.
Only because of that show.
Yep.
Correct.
It's all because of the Netflix show.
What is it? I have not watched the show. I know you're very heavily involved in Formula One. I don't see the appeal in just driving around in a fast car in circles. But I understand the sexiness of the lifestyle of Formula One. That I get. Like Lewis Hamilton is a fucking rock star. He looks cool, dresses cool. He has all the babes. I get why people love him. What is it about the sport that TV show did that like made
What
it?
happened in the show that everyone loves it now?
So it's two things. One is the human side of it. So they didn't they're not telling a
None of those people
mechanical
are taking
car,
refugees.
and they do.
Right.
No, dude, that's gonna follow us on the rest of the episode. So no, it is not at all about the mechanical side, about the cars, about the seconds of it. It's only about human interaction. So teammates within themselves, the team principles, about sponsors and everything. So it's telling a human side of a whole thing where you haven't seen a very human side before. And second of all, which is very, very interesting, I think, it's mainly about the underdogs. So Lewis Hamilton is not the star of the Netflix show.
Yeah.
It's about the guys that are competing for 11th or 17th place in whatever. And people like underdogs. Like they want to see the human underdog
So it's just
story
very
in
good
between.
content.
Yeah, it's
And then-
insanely well done. It's like one guy who's out of London and he did the Amazon college football things.
Oh, yeah,
what
yeah.
was it? All Eyes On? Or what's,
Yeah. I
what's the
remember
name
that.
of that? And they transformed it into Formula One. And it's been interesting because they showed up. Formula One is like a corporation. And so the first year, Ferrari and Mercedes was not part of it. So they were not allowed to film with those teams. So you can step out as a part of the
What
organization.
team did you work with?
Mercedes.
Gotcha.
So we were not.
It sounds like they made it like Hard Knocks, which and
Correct,
what they
yeah.
did for NFL.
Exactly, yeah, exactly the same thing. And after the first season of Drive to Survive, like the whole popularity and especially the age group and especially females and
Yeah,
younger
I've
people.
heard a lot of women talk about they love Formula One now.
Insane. And that all of a sudden everybody saw it and Mercedes was like, we want in too. Like we missed out on that part. And now it's season 4 or 5 or something. Like the last season is a little like people don't totally love it, but it's insane what that did to the sport of human storytelling. And there, same thing is now happening with golf. They're going into
tennis,
golf
I heard.
and tennis.
The same production company?
Yes, it's same
Wow.
guy.
Tennis
And
needs it badly.
tennis, golf, and cycling. So they go into sports that are
Suck.
probably not number one right now, and they are. It's very, very interesting how a human good storytelling, like a different approach to everything else is there, and it's interesting the way they work too, because Formula One is a heavy controlled surrounding. So everybody is just positive, just sponsors and everything. But Netflix went in there and they don't, like, they have the right, they film, they edit, then the team is seeing it, but they can't take out stuff. Like they don't have the final cut or something. Wow. So it's a really different angle of storytelling of that whole circus. Wow. So which made it very, very much more interesting. And to be fair, it's a different way of consuming that sport. It's not about who won. It's about the human interaction, how he felt about it. And it's very, very interesting.
That's interesting. It's not about who won. Who cares about who finishes second?
Doesn't Lewis Hamilton win every
That's
race?
what that's been the problem. Yeah.
It's just him holding a trophy and spraying champagne.
This year, maybe not. And last year, he lost at the very, very last lap.
But like, if you ask, like, obviously now because of the show, people know other drivers.
Yeah.
Like
Haas.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Haas is a team.
Oh, okay.
But it is it's American.
Okay.
Yeah, Haas is an American team.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it sounds like Lewis Hamilton is like Michael Jordan on steroids, and then there's a bunch of other people.
What's Rasputin?
Putin?
Putin had there was a
I'm
Russian
sure he has a
kid.
team.
There was a Russian driver. He got suspended now, and yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, but very good for the sport, and it's insane how
So
that
your
changed.
business is booming.
Yeah, I dropped out before that happened. So I had a COVID kind of moved me out. But I was with Toto Wolff at Harvard. You guys are Harvard alumni,
Yes,
right?
of course. We know everything.
So I was, do you know Anita? the professor there?
Yeah, she's famous. Yeah,
So she wrote a paper on Toto Wolff and the Mercedes team, which was super interesting to be there. And it was insane how she analyzed how they transformed all the kind of like, it's been the most successful Formula One team ever, Mercedes, when I worked in there. And that's the other thing, like they won every single race. So they needed to find a different angle that's not about, because the race itself was not interesting for the last 7 years, I would say.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah, I think it'll be great for tennis and golf just to get it younger and get better crowds involved, because like obviously we grew up playing tennis. We got to watch the golden era of tennis. Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi was like legendary for American tennis. Globally, I'm sure Nadal and Federer are much bigger figures, but like in America, like you were glued U.S. Open, Wimbledon when those two were playing. And now, like, nobody watches tennis
in America.
Which sucks because it's an incredible sport. But we just haven't we don't have the talent either.
No.
Oh, you have.
We have Taylor,
Indian
Fritz.
Wells, just Fritz.
Taylor Fritz won. Yeah,
he won.
But he
beat Nadal.
Yeah,
in the finals.
Yeah. I just saw a picture of him holding a trophy.
I just assumed Nadal won.
No, but like he's basically the hope of American tennis because he's also like fun.
And he has a very hot girlfriend.
Yeah,
have you
big
seen
on
that?
TikTok.
Yeah, super big on TikTok. Yeah. And he beat our German guy. We have a German guy, Zverev, like he's super good too, yeah.
Okay.
He killed him in the second leg. Yeah.
All right,
How about some news?
Move on to some news. Nike stock Nike stock performed really well after earnings. What's interesting is their total revenue climbed 5% to 10.87 billion. And, they're accounting that for solid demand in the United States. They're calling it a COVID slump in China of 8%. I'm calling bullshit COVID slump. I've heard from many people in China, Nike is just not popular there right now. And it's because of their political positioning that the people have put, like, even in the resale market, like Jordans and hype shoes, they've seen a slump. Anything Nike related has seen a slump in China because of all the Uyghur Muslim talk and the way the government is portraying China as a corporation that's positioning China in a bad way. So I think that has an impact on the consumer. And I actually think it's a consumer demand issue because I'm waiting to hear from, so the exact comp I would say is I want to see Sephora, I want to see Gucci, I want to see LVMH. Do they have a COVID slump in China right now or not? Because if they don't, and I've not seen the data on this, so I can't claim it, but like if you see Louis Vuitton growing in China and Nike not, to me it's a Nike issue, not a COVID issue.
I think that's going to be really telling because there are 90 million people locked down in China right now.
Okay, but that's right now. This is last quarter.
This is through 12/31?
Yeah.
Yeah, those lockdowns were recent.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, I mean, I thought the interesting thing is they have Nike Land on Roblox. 6.4 million people visited Nike Land on Roblox. I don't know how to gauge that, but it seems like 6.4 million people engaging with your brand at zero marginal cost.
Yeah.
It cost them nothing to Nike Land on Roblox. Roblox did it all. And they probably got paid to do it.
Yeah. I think
and I think that's why, like, we joke about Web3 stupid, NFT stupid. It's why every corporation is filing patents because, sure, Nike's not going to make money on Web3, but 6.4 million people engaging with your brand in addition to everywhere else they engage, that's meaningful.
I think for Nike, like, you just have to be everywhere. They're such a huge company. It's like, what is it? If they did 10.8 in the quarter, it's a $40 billion company. So you just have to have your presence felt all throughout the internet and in the real world. And, the big talk, obviously, they reduce allocation of inventory to Foot Locker. They're reducing it across the board. They're going more direct to consumer.
Investors love that because that's margin expansion.
Yeah, of course.
And you don't have to go to Foot Locker and still sell the same amount.
Say still the same amount of shoes and product. I do see, like, the one thing that I do think that's interesting that I think a Nike has to be aware of, and I don't know how you address it, but there has been an onslaught of new brands that are making inroads on running.
Yep.
Like, dude, it's what is a company worth? Like nearly $10 billion, something crazy like that. Lululemon now entered footwear. Hoka had a record year with running shoes. New Balance is hotter than ever. All of these brands are Alo Yoga. They're all eating into Nike's pot.
I kind of think it's more expansion of product category. If you think about how many people
Dress athleisure
can wear Nikes on New Balance to work, whereas 10 years ago they couldn't.
Yeah.
Pretty much every technology company, which is the fastest growing, from an employment standpoint.
Yeah.
Where do you have to wear dress shoes? What, you're a lawyer?
Yeah.
What else? Bankers?
You go to court.
Okay, so
you get arrested.
You're only the defendant, not the people in court.
Why? People dress up. You go to court. You wear nice shoes.
Okay, so you have 2 industries left that require suits.
No, I'm banking. Those guys are all
yeah, finance.
Yeah,
attorneys.
I don't know. I go to like random stores all the time. People are wearing suits.
The employees.
Yeah.
Okay, so 100. I mean, it's not a lot.
Yeah. So
think about Google. How many employees do they have? Not one person was required to wear dress shoes.
They're just probably wearing onesie blankets.
They have no socks on because their hero Adam Newman walks around barefoot.
Yeah, if you're at home, you're not even wearing new clothes. Most of these folks.
But yeah, I think it's expansion of product category, which is why everyone's doing well.
Yeah, but I do think over time the category got a lot more crowded. Nike. It was basically Nike, Adidas, the 2 bellwethers forever.
Because it was like you had 20 years ago, almost every industry, you had to dress up, and you can only wear your Nikes on weekends, or if you're going running. Now you can wear your Nikes to go, you can go pitch the biggest VCs in the world at Nikes.
Yeah. What's interesting is it's the Air Force One is the shoe I fucking hate that shoe. I see it everywhere. Every old person, every young person, every person on TikTok, every adult I meet with has freaking dirty Air Force Ones on. It's, to me, the absolute most played out look, and every single person has it on. I can't believe, everyone's wearing it here. It's crazy. I literally go to meetings with the craziest people every day, and all I see is everyone wearing Air Force Ones. It's nuts.
Nelly needs to get more royalties.
Well, there's a huge lawsuit with John Geiger that's going on, who's a very good friend. Yeah. John has a luxury shoe brand that has the Air Force One silhouette, and he has his own take on it, nicer materials, nicer fabrics. And Nike is suing. Nike is going after everyone now for protecting their silhouettes, which they never have done in the past. Like the Jordan 1 silhouette is a very popular silhouette. The Nike Dunk, Air Force One. The challenge is a lot of brands use that Air Force One silhouette. Like Louis Vuitton uses it because Virgil has publicly said, I love the Air Force One. Why would I want a different shoe? I'm just going to give you the version of the shoe that I think that people want to wear. But John, if you don't know John and you're into sneakers, follow him on Twitter. He is going to fucking war with Nike. War.
And he's teaming up with Foot Locker and stuff now.
Yes.
The latest thing. It's insane.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how this lawsuit plays out, because it's obviously the shoe of the moment is the Air Force One. Because I cannot believe how many times a day I see people wearing that shoe. I mean, the fact that it's on resale sites for higher than retail is fucking nuts. It's not hard. I mean, it's a very accessible shoe, and it's still on resale sites selling for higher than retail. Pretty fascinating. Well, we'll have to see how it all plans out. I'm excited to see what happens with Nike from here on out. And I'm also excited to see what happens with all these brands, because they can't all be $100 billion activewear brands. I mean, I just don't. It's something. I mean, Under Armour clearly got punished.
Yeah.
By the consumer, but where does all this shit go?
They'll grow in the near term, then they get saturated.
Yeah.
How many pairs of athleisure shoes do you need?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still opportunity in performance, because there's all these niche performance shoes that people can do, but I just don't know if those are $20 billion businesses.
Right. That's fair.
All right. Well, something else that's surging is mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are now over 4%, which is insane. And literally, 90 days ago, it was
2%.
Two and change.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a substantial fucking difference in your monthly mortgage payment. So finally, people have reduced home sales forecast. So the other thing with the rising interest rate that you're going to see is credit card balances. So that interest payment that you pay on your credit cards every month, if you're not paying it all off, is going to go up. I think the credit card thing is going to hurt the consumer pretty bad because you're not going to even notice it. All of a sudden, like, let's say you're paying $150 a month. Next month, you're paying $175 a month. And the next month after that, I mean, Powell came out yesterday and said, I will do whatever it takes to tame inflation, even if I have to increase by half basis point. That's a huge jump.
Between Powell and $7 gas and supply chain, the R word's coming.
Yeah.
Recession.
Yeah. All right, so you said Ripke.
But but you said that on this pod 4 years ago too.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Both
saying
of you.
recession.
Yeah.
We thought recession was happening in 2022.
I'm not rooting for it. I'm just saying, like,
I just hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I mean, it's just if your credit card bill goes up, your mortgage payment goes up, gas at the pump is so high, you can't spend as much at the movie theaters, the restaurants, the clothing. It's just
something has to give.
Something has to give.
I have a question for you Americans because I have a first world problem. So I'm driving an Escalade. And
it's the worst possible car.
I'm aware of that.
Before you continue,
do people think you're an Uber driver?
So can I tell you before you continue? There was an era in early 2000s. I don't remember exactly when I think it was during like the Gulf War where gas prices went through the fucking roof. Yeah. And this is the era of when the big SUV exploded. So Cadillacs and Hummers. I was driving down Wilshire and a guy next to me and a Hummer showed up. And this is when gas was all-time high. I was drinking coffee. I blurted out and started laughing because I could not fathom. I'm like, this guy must be spending $200 a week. How much are you spending?
So the question is, the limit of getting gas with a credit card is $100 on, like, if you pay with
that
a
must
card.
be some German shit.
My card, I can't get more gas
what
than
kind
100.
of card do you have?
You're on like
American Express Platinum.
Get a black card then, homie.
I don't spend more than $75 at a time, so I don't know.
I don't think my tank holds $100 worth of gas. I don't know.
Mine unfortunately does. Yeah. So now I can't put it full. Like I can't exit it because it's only.
How much is full for you? $1.50?
More, way more.
How many gallons does your thing hold?
I have no idea, but it's 140 probably as of now if I would make it full. So I'm not. But you guys never went to that because I experienced it, like I'm living here for 5.5 years now, and a year ago it's been the first time it hit $100 straight, and I was like, That's magic. It's exactly $100. And I'm stupid, so it happened 2 more times to me until I realized the limit is $100 for credit cards. I was like, before
That's
I was
insane.
like, it's exactly $100.
I mean, that must be a fraud prevention thing because obviously where credit card fraud is big is gas stations.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's times where I'll go get gas and I'll enter my PIN wrong and then it goes, go see cashier. I just leave. I'm not going to fucking see that cashier.
So you steal the cash.
You have to talk to a cousin that's not going to be a dickhead.
But do you do that after getting gas or
no? I could not get the gas, and I'd just rather leave and roll the dice than go see the cashier.
That's different. In Germany, you put gas first in and then you pay, so you can.
Yeah, that used to be here.
Yeah.
That was here like 30 years ago. That was like when fraud was a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. So we're going to now shift into crypto land. Yuga Labs, Bored Ape, and now CryptoPunks raised money at a $4 billion valuation. I think Andreessen Horowitz gave the money.
Yep.
Basically, Andreessen Horowitz is trying to corner Web3. That's what it feels like. How much did they get? $400 million?
$400 million. They have a $3.5 billion crypto fund that they're investing out of.
So they gave 10% to some apes.
And Paradigm, which is their competitor, they just raised $2.5 billion. Then Katie Huan, who was a partner in Andreessen Horowitz, she just raised $1.5 billion crypto fund. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, there was I saw the number, I forgot what it was, like $33 billion has already been invested in Web3 crypto.
and Sequoia raised $500 million into their crypto fund.
Tiny. What are you gonna do with that tiny amount?
Well,
of
they
money?
don't have the talent to invest at scale.
Yeah.
Andreessen Horowitz has been doing this 10 years.
I mean, if I'm like a shitty crypto fund, I just go buy all the apes. You get this. You get the exposure. Go buy 50 apes. Maybe 100 apes.
Not a bad idea. I mean, one of the crypto funds I invested in, they put it all in Bitcoin and Ethereum until they decided what to invest in. Bitcoin was 3,000. Ethereum was a couple $100.
So they
didn't even need to invest.
They shouldn't have invested. They should bet on the Final Four.
What does that have to do with this?
I don't know. You just got to make bets. It's all betting, anyways. Investing is betting.
Yeah, it is.
But it's pretty interesting to see. The Bored Ape thing is just, it's becoming like, it's like
Bored Ape's too big to fail, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, you could have a view on all the rest of NFT land and interest is down.
They have 400 million in the bank now. It's pretty hard to fuck that up.
They're a cultural phenomenon. They're the Nike, they're the Supreme Louis Vuitton of crypto land.
Yeah.
And
well, your boy Vitalik, who was on the cover of Time, says crypto has an NFT problem. He's like, I didn't create this shit for a bunch of apes to be worth millions of dollars. And so he has a beef with NFTs because he thinks it's hijacking the narrative and making it about gambling. But first, let's talk about his cover. He does look interesting on the cover of Time magazine, and everyone was roasting him for it. So he retweeted all of the best ones, and one of them called him like, I'm paraphrasing, but like the ugly Tom Brady type of vibe. And Vitalik goes, I don't even know who that is. And then Tom Brady retweeted him. And whoever does this guy's social media is unbelievable. And
he said like, hey, Vitalik, nice to meet you. Would love to meet up one day.
Yeah. I mean, what a photo op. Vitalik and Tom Brady.
They're going to meet.
Yeah. He's going to be at the first game
Tom
of the season.
Brady is part of FTX.
Yeah.
And he's one of their ambassadors. And the founder of FTX can make that meeting happen in 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's a hot meeting. But what do you think about Vitalik's comment?
I think he is thinking of it from a technical standpoint, but NFTs brought crypto to the mainstream that nothing else has been able to do in the crypto world. If you think about the number of people engaging with crypto, and I think he's just trying to like, a lot of people getting rugged, a lot of people losing money, a lot of people spending more on fees than their actual NFT.
Yeah.
So I think he's just saying like, it's super dangerous if you're a young person, don't understand this, but it's also like, it's like anything. If you don't transact in crypto, you won't know the like genius of it and how easy it is to like move money and trade things and send money around the world. And once you do that, that's like the aha moment. Like, holy shit, this thing's incredible.
Yeah.
And young people are going to lose a lot of money, but they'll learn how crypto works.
Yeah.
And I don't think, while I think most of NFTs is fraud, it's undeniable. NFTs made people who have never used crypto use crypto.
Yeah.
Think about like if you saw the usage curve of crypto or user curve of crypto, if you look at the last like 18 months, like I'm sure it's insane.
Yeah.
8 months.
Yeah. Like just wallets that were
number
opened.
of wallets that were created.
Yeah, and now I agree with that. I think it brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm into the space.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the fact that it was simple to understand was the key to it. That's simplicity always brings.
But like any gold rush, there's always frauds.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with ICOs in 2017. It's a lot of frauds.
Yeah. WeCrashed.
The
Big
show?
fraud.
Oh,
yeah. Big fraud.
Yeah. Fraud.
I can't get over how good Jared Leto is.
It's a great actor. And what's cool is Jared Leto is dialed in tech. He's like been investing for years.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's come across Adam Newman.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure he's heard a million stories and it's probably helped him like play the character better.
He's unbelievable. Like, it's just, it doesn't do like Travis, like, I actually like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but he's not Travis Kalanick.
No, he's not.
I like Coach from Friday Night Lights better to be Travis.
Well, that guy's always the hero.
Yeah.
In every show, Kyle Chandler, that's
Yeah.
the actor's name.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's a fun one. Pusha T is this was a rumor that came out through Steve Sout in 2016 that Pusha T co-wrote with Pharrell and Justin Timberlake the McDonald's jingle "I'm Loving It,"
It's amazing.
and he said that he didn't really make any money off of it.
I believe that.
Okay. Justin Timberlake made $6 million. Today, he is getting even with a new fish sandwich diss track for Arby's.
America.
America's amazing. Like, you write "I'm Loving It," an iconic jingle.
But what do you write about that? Like, what's the? I want to see. Like, how
Basically,
many
he's dissing the fish fillet sandwich at McDonald's, saying Arby's version is better. I don't eat fish, meat. I don't know. I mean, from what I gather, Arby's doesn't have a stellar reputation. It's not like the premier fast food joint. Kind of feel bad. It's like, you know, you're going to Arby's to do the diss track. It can't even level up. Go to Burger King at least.
Yeah.
Is Arby's involved with the diss track?
Yeah.
They paid him for.
They paid him for it.
Do you think they paid him $6 million?
Yeah, that's the question.
I think they paid him 150 grand.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
That's probably right?
that's probably what he got out of that.
If anyone wants a diss track, I'll do something for 10 grand. I'll verbally assault your competitor.
Okay.
Just don't do it on Instagram or you're banned like your boy Kanye, who's now out of Grammys, as I see. But let's talk about this in the next episode.
Yeah, well,
because we're at 1 hour.
Yeah, so
we need to wrap things up.
Yeah,
over here,
we're gonna tease it into the next episode. All right, everyone. We will see you back here on Thursday. We are hopefully locking in a very special guest. I'm going to make sure with scheduling, but it will be deep Web3 crypto. Kind of an expert in this. He is an expert in the space.
Yep.
And pretty legendary dude. So we'll keep you posted on that, and then we will see you all on Thursday. Thank you, Paul, for joining us.
Thank you, Paul.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, great to have you back in the country. I'm glad that you didn't show up on my doorstep.
Yeah,
with your whole family.
Maybe
you're more than welcome to come for an afternoon, a few hours. But when the kids go to the bath, you guys got to get the fuck out. Welcome to America.
See you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Peace.